Justice Banda, thank you very much for your time. Firstly, perhaps let's get your reaction on the arrest of this Zimbabwean police officer who was on suspension but found himself assaulting a civilian who was handcuffed, by the way.
Thank you very much. I think it is very curious that the police officer is said to have been on suspension, but he was actually not alone. He had a soldier with him. So I'm not sure how, the soldier would not have known that the man that he's working with is actually on suspension. Because I think, once again, we're being sold a dummy here. Because, I don't think that a soldier will just work with somebody that they're not assigned to work together as partners. The government was at pains, through, the spokesperson of the police to say, look, that picture was taken, that video clip was a 2016, clip. And had it been not for the resilience, I think, of the Sky News reporter and the people that generally picked up, those discrepancies and say, look, the registration number of the vehicle that is in that particular clip is an AES number, which basically is a prefix of numbers that were issued only in 2018. I think they also went on to say, but furthermore, you can see that one of the attires that is worn by one of the people is a Chelsea, jersey for the 2017-2018, season. So at that particular moment, I think it became very difficult for them to continue, concealing the lie. So we are, generally, happy that, a person has been arrested. But this arrest basically comes, I think, unwillingly on the part of the police or the government.
The question, therefore, the next question that also follows then is, are these widespread allegations against the soldiers who are said to still be rounding up people in their homes as we speak? The allegation that these soldiers are also now involved in the rape of some of the people in whose houses they go around arresting people.
Look, when you look at these allegations, I think they are very true in the sense that we have seen pictures, for example, of people that are not in uniform, walking around carrying AK-47s. And, for example, the spokesperson says that, the Constable Makumire, is bogus. He talks about bogus. When you talk about bogus, you're saying somebody is not a police officer in the first instance. But this man is a police officer who's only on suspension from what she is saying. And a lot of the people that have been released on the, on the streets that are not in uniform, our understanding and our view is that this is a deliberate ploy by the government to release these people so that they can find a scapegoat to say, look, these are not police officers, and these are not our soldiers, and they're not on official duty. So that, it can easily be pinned down either on the opposition or people that are just being lawless, so that now they can then, get an excuse to unleash, the brutal attacks on people.
Also of concern about what's going on in Zimbabwe is that the lawyers who are representing these people who are being arrested in their thousands, they protested yesterday in the capital, Harare, saying or claiming, among other things, that the magistrates and some judges are complicit in the violation of human rights in that country. How does the general public in Zimbabwe gain confidence in the criminal justice system?
Well, look, I think this is why we have been saying that all along, that, look, we have got, a shame constitution, in Zimbabwe that is not really implemented, in that you've got these systems that appear to be okay on the surface, but when you scratch a little bit deeper, you realize that, all these judgments that we have, the bulk of them, are not generally, lawful, or they are not being fair. There is no justice that is being done. For example, we had, I think yesterday, the ANC saying that, a statement that we have seen, that has been issued, that there is no legitimate issues when it comes to President Mnangagwa, because the Constitutional Court after the election declared that he was constitutionally elected and there was no unfair play. Now, what we see happening is that all the people that are in the judiciary system are handpicked by, the executive. So by every means, this is an extension of the executive. It is not a balancing, arm of government.
Very quickly, last question. It talks to your point as the Diaspora Forum that you're saying there is quiet on the part of South Africa and the SADC region. South Africa will argue that they have been talking. In fact, just last week, our president spoke out internationally about the sanctions on Zimbabwe being lifted. that's the argument that they're going to put against your accusations that they're silent.
Unfortunately, they have always, every time there is an opportunity for South Africa, for AU, for SADC to speak, they give us cosmetic comments. Everything that they say is something that always supports the government, but they don't look at issues that are coming out that paint the government in bad light. For example, we're looking at people being brutalized. They said, we believe that the government is doing enough, to quell and deal with the situation. Now they are going on saying, we want the sanctions to be removed so that we can have a proper economy. So now it means the South African government, even the president, is basically saying the problems in Zimbabwe are as a result of sanctions. But the misrule and the bad governance and the brute force that the government of Zimbabwe is using is not being condemned at all.
Vusi Sibanda, thank you very much for your insights and coming through here this morning to talk about this situation in Zimbabwe.